Life got you down? Is your work a bottomless pit from which there's no escape? Does the daily news feed seem like a pointless, never-ending doom scroll? Well, cheer up, buckaroo. Halloween is on its way. And along with pulling in the harvest and shortening daylight hours, nothing says we're coming to the end of the year like a good Twilight Zone countdown. Ah, the Twilight Zone. Those first 4 notes, you hear them and are immediately transported to a realm of ideas and cosmic sleight of hand. Bite-sized tales of imagination with a twist, where your sympathies are tested and your fantasies titillated. The progression of the notes is subtle, yet haunting, and repeated with a rhythm that almost sounds like an alarm, a warning.
Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone was the first thing I remember seeing in black and white that interested me, that wasn't stale, that had an edge to it. It was inspiring, one of my all-time favorite shows and considered one of the greatest shows ever made. It has stood the test of time. So without dragging out the intro, here are my top 5 Twilight Zone episodes. Number 5. Will the real Martian please stand up? In a rural setting on a snowy winter's eve, a UFO crashes through the trees and into a pond. Just another day in the Twilight Zone. 2 state troopers investigate. Footprints lead to a diner where the proprietor serves 7 passengers and the driver of a bus headed to Boston. Yet the driver only remembers 6 passengers boarding the bus. Is one of the party not who they appear to be? Is there an alien among them? And will Jack Elam regret ordering the chili? The guests can hardly believe there's an interloper in their midst, but things don't add up, added to which a few haunted house tricks and jump scares give the impression that there really is something otherworldly afoot. This has a very good ensemble cast with veteran character actors John Hoyt, Barney Phillips, and Jack Elam. Playing on suspicion and uncertainty with a satisfying twist, this Twilight Zone episode embodies all the characteristics that fans would come to expect from the show. Number 4. The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. Claude Akins leads a cast of relative unknowns in this one, along with Eye of the Beholder, Time Enough at Last, and The Cornfield Kid. This is one of those classic, iconic Twilight Zone episodes. An episode built on the classic recipe of setup, complication, and twist, but is also so well written it's been produced many times as a stage production. And even though it's set in the Twilight Zone, the ugliness and terrible aspects of humanity are all too familiar. Damn, this one's good. Like the previous episode on my list, a strange, unidentified object has streaked across the sky, and simultaneously all electronics and motors are on the fritz. A boy warns against leaving the neighborhood as he's seen this type of odd occurrence in many sci-fi stories he's read. This eventually leads the mob to suspect him as a foreign agent. A word to the wise, kids.
You never open your mouth till you know what the shot is.
But he's not alone. In the unfolding hysterical frenzy, all of the neighbors quickly turn on each other, letting the smallest of idiosyncrasies or flashing porch lights lead to summary judgment. It's a story with a message that's as timeless as the Oracle of Delphi, the Upanishads, and Yogi Berra.
They know until it's over.
In almost any problem on Earth, the true monsters are almost always us. Paranoia and disunity lead to downfall.
What do you have?
Coffee.
Nothing else?
Cream.
I'll take a cup of coffee too. You can buy me a cup of coffee at buymeacoffee.com. Link in the description. Number 3, the Rip Van Winkle caper. No, that's not Claude Akins, but his doppelganger Simon Oakland, and Robert Mitchum's brother John, along with Schultz lookalike Oscar Beregi. Although, whereas Schultz,
I know nothing.
Oscar Beregi's character is a Goodwill Hunting when it comes to noxious gases. I just love this idea. Concept is king in this installment, and it had me hooked from the word go, like the movie Escape from New York, or Memento. Our main characters steal a ton of gold on its way to Fort Knox, and are gonna hide out in suspended animation for 100 years. Then when the heat cools, they can spend their fortune. Not a bad plan, if you can guarantee the century-long nap won't kill you. The story devolves into a classic struggle for resources. And like all good stories set in the Twilight Zone, it's got a great twist. Number 2, The Passerby. This is an odd one for me, an episode I never would have liked when I was a kid, back when I was first introduced to the show, smitten with the western and sci-fi tales, and yearning for my own powers to wish local bullies into the cornfield. This episode was slow. No aliens planning on cooking humanity, No mysterious forces or genies granting terrible wishes. I didn't care for a Gone with the Wind themed episode, with just a gimpy dude hanging on a porch singing off-tune melodies with a Scarlett O'Hara stand-in. Ugh. And yet, in my advanced years, this has become one of my favorites. Even beyond that, I think this episode should be required viewing in schools. The horrors of war, the common humanity found when we're at our lowest, the lessons of history we just can't seem to get a handle on. The lighting is fantastic, as are the performances of the two leads, Joanne Linville and James Gregory. This might be Gregory's finest professional performance as an actor, showing a broader range than usual, even demonstrating an ability to sing. Even the plantation, the pitiful representation of an establishment based on human suffering, slave labor, brought to its knees. But what's done is done. Horrors enacted. A new peace established. We've had our bloodshed. Time to move forward. This elegy for the participants of war could be set in just about any time and place. The story shows loss and suffering at the personal level, and how victims of war aren't relegated to the battlefield. That it is set in a country still grappling with elements of its past is all the more fitting. I highly recommend taking the time and checking out The Passerby. And my number one favorite Twilight Zone of all time, The Grave. What a cast. Is there a Twilight Zone episode with a better cast than this? If you think so, let me know in the comments section.
That was the finest beating I ever took.
Heavy hitters in the Western and crime genres, Lee Marvin.
I bet you're a big Lee Marvin fan.
Sir, yes, sir!
Lee Van Cleef.
The Gulf Fire's waiting.
James Roscoe P. Coltrane Best.
I love it!
And Sam Peckinpah regular character actor Strother Martin.
Come on, TC. Help me get his boots.
Even the three relative unknowns were pitch perfect in their roles, especially Ellen Willard as the haunting Ione Sykes, sister of Pinto Sykes, the character whose ghosts hangs over the entire episode. And minor role by William Challey as the Old Town Coot who informs Connie that Pinto Sykes is dead. Challey would go on to play Jack Nicholson's incapacitated dad in one of my favorite films, 5 Easy Pieces. The story. Ruthless outlaw Pinto Sykes is gunned down by committee, the locals being fed up with the way he had his way with their town. They had hired gunman Connie Miller, played by Marvin, to rid themselves of Sykes. But Miller hadn't produced any results, and on his deathbed, Pinto basically called him out as a coward, not trying very hard to find him. This is relayed to Connie a few days afterwards, and it raises Connie's hackles. He refutes Pinto's deathbed proclamations, calling him a liar, and stating he looked high and low but couldn't find him. The group also warned Connie that Pinto claimed he would reach out and grab Connie if he set one foot near his grave. So the story's fulcrum rests on a bet, a wager that Connie won't go to Pinto's grave that night. Connie's shocked. They all know him. They know he's a mean hombre. Why do they think he's scared all of a sudden? Strother Martin's character sums it up.
Because we'd be afraid.
And your pistol ain't gonna be worth a plug nickel against whatever comes out of Pinto Sykes' grave. No surprise, this aired on October 27th, 1961, just in time for Halloween. The desolate tone, the creepy graveyard, the fiery determination of a deathbed threat, calling out a rival, daring him to cross the proverbial threshold. Revenge from beyond the grave. This episode is a perfect little appetizer to watch right before throwing on your horror movie main course. And I like that it showed that the Twilight Zone wasn't relegated to science fiction or cruel twists of fate, that ghost stories and macabre events also had a place in the pantheon of oddities Rod Serling had to offer. So there's my top 5 Twilight Zones. Agree? Disagree? What's your top 5? List them below. Thanks for clicking in, and happy Halloween.
It's a dream.
It's only a dream.
No, it's not.